And we are live.
Good morning, everybody. Hello out there in YouTube land. I see everybody in the chat room, and they're all chatting and having a good time this morning. I'd like to welcome everybody to the Level-Headed News, where we're technically challenged, and we just keep plugging along here a little bit at a time, learning as we go. I'm glad everybody has a sense of humor and is willing to bear with us as we learn what we're doing. But little by little, I'm thinking that we're improving. We're figuring out what don't work. We could write a book on what don't work. Poor Pat, he's been shamed to the point where, you know, he has to do the show underneath the desk today. We're not going to allow him to actually, you know, sit up in the chair and and poke any buttons today. We're going to make him be under the desk. And we got a few things here in the news that we'd like to talk to you about. It's a beautiful day here in Indiana. It rained a little bit this morning. The garden's happy. The birds are happy. So everything seems to be rolling along pretty smooth. How's everything in your world this morning, Pat?
Not too bad. It's sunny, a little overcast, but it's all good. I want to say good morning to everybody in the chat room. Thank you for joining us. I really do appreciate you guys joining with me and Brenda and supporting us. I really appreciate that from the bottom of my heart. Thank you. So Brenda,
well, you know,
go ahead.
I told them earlier in the chat room that, you know, first they had Regis and Kathy Lee, and then they had Regis and Kelly, and then they had Kelly and Michael, and now they have Pat and Brenda.
That's a scary thought, ain't it?
Well, maybe we'll be more entertaining than any of the rest of them. What do you think?
Yeah. I'll sit back and let everybody kick me and stuff and get good chuckles, you know? Within the next couple of months, we'll put a blooper reel together so everybody can get a good laugh with all my bloopers and stuff and have fun with it.
Well, we can't kick you too hard with you under that desk. We might bruise our shins.
Yeah, right? Wow.
Oh, my goodness. Well, Pat, you know, we come up with a few things that was in the news. I'm looking here at some of this stuff that we pulled up this morning. We got this thing on, the first one that I've grabbed is the one from London on this Oscar Pistorius, the Olympic runner who faces sentences for the 2013 murder of his girlfriend. It seems that he removed his artificial leg and shuffled his way to the front of the courtroom in Pretoria, South Africa on Wednesday. Trembling and tearful, he rested his right hand on a desk for support as his layers, good grief, there's a blooper for you, as his lawyers, I went to public school, I can't read, lawyers pleaded with a judge to sentence him to community service rather than prison. Dressed in a t-shirt and athletic shorts, Mr. Pistorius, 29, is barely 3.5 feet tall without the J-shaped carbon fiber prosthetic legs that earned him the nickname the Blade Runner, an image far more humble than that of the world-class athlete who successfully challenged able-bodied athletes. It was the most dramatic moment in the third day of sentencing hearing before Judge, oh good gosh, I can't even pronounce that name, Judge, I'm going to butcher it, Thokzile Matilda Masipa, I don't even know if I'm close, of the North Gauteng High Court. The judge said on Wednesday that she would issue her ruling on the July 6th news report said. Mr. Pistorius' defense lawyers had asked him to take off his prosthetic leg to highlight the sense of vulnerability they say he felt when acting out of fear and confusion. He fatally shot his girlfriend, Reva Steenkamp, early on February the 14th, 2013. Mr. Pistorius has long maintained that he thought an intruder had entered their home in Peoria and that he had no intention of killing Miss Steinkamp when he fired 4 shots through a locked bathroom door. It was Mr. Pistorius, the double amputee, and not Mr. Pistorius, the world-class athlete, who should be judged, and one of his lawyers, Barry Rue. South African sentencing guidelines call for a minimum term of 15 years in prison for murder, but they give the judge leeway. Mr. Rue argued that there were substantial and compelling circumstances to show leniency. In 2014, after a trial that riveted South Africa, Judge Masipa found Mr. Pistorius not guilty of murder, but convicted him of culpable homicide, the legal equivalent of manslaughter. She sentenced him to 5 years in prison, of which he served 1 year before being released in October to serve the rest of his sentence under house arrest. However, prosecutors appealed, and the country's top appeals court convicted Mr. Pistorius of murder in December, finding that Mr. Pistorius was guilty because he knew that firing through the locked door would kill whoever was inside. Even if he did not believe it was Ms. Steinkamp, the court referred the case back to Judge Masipa for sentencing. The chief prosecutor, Jerry Nell, has portrayed Mr. Pistorius as a man given to fits of anger and self-pity. On Wednesday, he summoned Kim Martin, a cousin of Ms. Steinkamp's, to testify about the prosecution, or what the prosecution contends is a lack of remorse. Besides the obvious anxiety and depression, as a family, we'll never be able to carry on like normal, she said. Just standing on a queue at a shopping center poses difficulty. People don't recognize you, and they'll start mentioning the trial, or they'll start mentioning Oscar, or they'll start mentioning Reva. Ms. Steinkamp, a law school graduate and model, was 29 when she died. All we've ever wanted was the truth, Ms. Martin said. I know people said that you got the truth, but we didn't. Oscar's version changed so many times, and I've never ever heard him say that I apologize for shooting and murdering Reva behind that door. The family has expressed outrage that Mr. Pistorius taped an interview, his first about the killing, with the British television network ITV, but declined to testify at the sentencing hearing. The interview has been scheduled for broadcast on June 24th. The sentence had been expected to be handed down before that date. Mr. Pistorius' disability made him get anxious very easily, especially when faced with danger. Mr. Rue agreed. It is also understandable that a person with disability such as that of the accused would certainly feel vulnerable when faced with danger. Mr. Rue suggested that his client was also a victim, with his career and his life ruined. The accused has lost all of his assets and career is gone. Mr. Rue said, the accused can never, ever resume his career. The accused has punished himself and will punish himself for the rest of his life, far more than any court of law can punish him. Mr. Nell, the prosecutor, was unmoved. He said that Mr. Pistorius had not shown remorse and that his decision to give the ITV interview without informing the court showed utter disrespect. It's the duty of this court not to follow public opinion, but to lead public opinion in the public interest, he said, urging Judge Masipa to hand down at least a 15-year term in prison.
So 15 years he's going to face for, I don't know, over in it. Is that, are they, I don't know if they charged him with aggravated manslaughter, or murder one. I don't know.
Well, it said murder. I don't know how their court system works over there. You know,
right.
They make, you know, I would doubt they have the same kind of court system we have here. They just said murder. So there you have it.
So that's pretty interesting. We also had some sad news overnight. I'm not too familiar with Disney's Grand in Florida, But apparently a alligator grabbed a 2-year-old child and drags him into the lagoon. And as of this morning, they still haven't found the child. But from what I read, there were signs posted that warning no swimming. I'm just curious if there was signs posted alerting visitors and spectators that, you know, alligators were present. Apparently the family was maybe a foot, they were, I believe they said, was dangling their feet in the water, and the alligator came up and snatched the boy. So I'm just curious if anybody is familiar with that and been there to this Grand where the lagoon is at. I'm just curious if there were signs, you know, alligators present. You know, if there wasn't no signs, you know, there's a major lawsuit coming on this.
Oh yeah.
You know, and it's sad. I mean, why, you know, if there was signs, why would you dangle your feet in the water knowing that, you know, there was a possibility of alligators present? You know, I don't know the area, so I really can't speculate, you know, but I'm just curious if there was any type of warning that, you know, there was alligators posted. So, you know, it's just a sad day to know a 2-year-old lost his life.
Well, I have friends that live down in Florida, and I mean, there's gators all over the place down there. You know, they have to really kind of watch if any water, standing water any place for gators to come around, golf courses or anything.
Right.
So, you know, that was a real, I don't know, lack of education, I guess, or paying attention or something on the parents' part to be in Florida and not be paying attention for gators, even if they're at Disney World. I mean, you know.
Mm-hmm. It's just sad, you know. I don't know.
Yeah, this article that I've read on it doesn't say anything about there being any signs up warning of alligators, but if there's water, snakes and gators, you know, are fairly common.
Right.
It's a tragic shame. It's a pity, but parents have to be very astute about their children and, you know, watch what's going on, even with themselves. I mean, it's a wonder that the gator didn't grab a human, you know, an adult. But I guess they don't normally feed on humans. If, you know, if they can get animals, raccoons or, you know, whatever, they'll grab that. But, you know, if the gator's hungry, food's food.
Right. You know, if there was signs posted, you know, and you knew that there was the potential of having gators and stuff, why would you let spectators get that close to the lagoon? You know, wouldn't you think there'd be some type of fenced off area to prevent something like this happening? You know, I don't know.
You would think, yeah. You know, but like I say, you know, I'm going to assume at this point that Disney knew there were gators in that water. But it's Florida. So anybody can have a pond or whatever and not think there's gators in it. But if you're in Florida or even the Carolinas, you know, any place out there along the coast, you're liable to have gators. A friend of mine lives in South Carolina and sent me a little thing yesterday. She just moved to a new place down there, and she went out, was checking out the, you know, scoping the neighborhood, her new neighborhood that she's living in, and she said about a third of a mile, there's a pond. And so she thought she'd go and check this pond out, and there was a gator in the pond.
Mm-hmm.
So, you know, you get any place around water down there in that neck of the woods, you're liable to have gators in it.
True. Just coming across the wire now on ABC News is reporting that Walt Disney World beaches and marinas closed after alligator drags toddler into a lake. Now they're saying a lake. Well, isn't there a difference between a lake and a lagoon? You know?
Well, I don't know. I've never really been much, of a water hound, so I don't know, what the difference would really be. But I'm surprised that they're just now closing it. I would have thought that, as soon as the tragedy happened, they would have closed it.
Right.
I mean, in the article I'm looking at, there's a picture of this water. It looks like a lake to me, but either way, water's water, and
Right.
there's a picture. Looks like probably a hotel or something in the background on it, and I'm surprised though that there wasn't some kind of fencing or security or signs or something around this to keep people away from it. Pretty to look at, but you don't want to be down there sticking your feet in the water feeding the gators.
I don't know, but there's going to be liability on this for sure.
Oh yeah.
Especially if Disney knew that they had gators in this lagoon or lake or whatever you want to call it, and did not take the necessity measures to protect visitors.
Yeah.
And you're going to get all these lawyers running after this right now. They're going to jump and feed like piranhas on this and go after Disney. So that's something to really pay attention to see what the outcome is going to be on this.
Yeah. Yeah, they'll be wanting to sue the dickens out of them. That's down there at, according to this map thing I pulled up. You got the Magic Kingdom Park. It looks like probably to the north of it, and then just south of the Magic Kingdom Park is the Grand Floridian Resort, which is part of Disney, and then off to I guess that would be to the west of the Floridian Resort is the Seven Seas Lagoon, and it looks like a great big lake to me. But I don't think the gator really asked questions about, is this a lagoon, a lake, what kind of water is this? I don't think that they're real particular. If it's water, they'll get in it.
Right. On some lighter news today, well, I shouldn't say some lighter. Today's a day to wear purple. And I shared the story with Brenda on this. And go ahead, Brenda.
Yep, I pulled it up here, Pat. And this is about wearing purple to bring attention to elder abuse in the nursing homes or care facilities, whatever you want to call them. Back in my day, they was called nursing homes. Everything being politically correct, I guess it's a care center now. But anyway, I'll read the article to you. It says, turn your U.S. state purple or add your country to the drop-down search list by taking action in your area. From posting an awareness flyer in your local coffee shop to setting up an elder shelter in your area, we want to know what travelers on the road to elder justice are doing worldwide. Let's turn the map purple to demonstrate our solidarity across the globe to address elder abuse. Events are listed in chronological order. Sort the events by U.S. state, country, and 10 Elder Justice Roadmap project themes by using the drop-down below the map. Want your event listed, fill out the event submission form. And they got this little form thing that you can fill out. This was all on Google News if you want to look this up. And let's see, it says here, the event description. Georgia Legal Services Program is commemorating World Elder Abuse Awareness Day by hosting an Elder Abuse Summit on June the 10th at Anderson Conference Center, located at 5171 Eisenhower Parkway, Macon, Georgia. And it gives the times and everything on that. The 10th was 5 days ago. So, like I told you yesterday, we'll bring you breaking news. It's going to be late, but, we'll bring it to you. But that's pretty much what this article was. I think that, they have wearing red for the heart, heart awareness. They have wearing pink for the breast cancer awareness, and all these other. Well, I don't see anything wrong with wearing purple for the elder abuse. I don't know if I'm really surprised that it's purple, because there was that poem about when I grow old, I will wear purple. In spite of what anybody thinks about it, I'll dress the way I please. But they also have the Red Hat Society, so I'm a little bit surprised that they don't have everybody wearing red hats. What do you think, Pat?
I don't know. I think, it's concerning that it's happening, and more. I think more awareness has to be brought out about it. It's sad to see,
Well, definitely, I agree with you there. I've read something here, oh gosh, it's been within the last month, about at least 50% of the people in nursing homes claim that they have been abused by whoever the caregivers are. And then there was people that work in the nursing facilities had claimed that, there was, I don't know, it was something like 60% or 75% of the workers that work in nursing homes will abuse the people, the patients there in the home. So it doesn't sound like a very safe place to be, really. I'll tell you, when I was a kid, nursing homes, nobody wanted to go to a nursing home. Oh, good grief. That was sentence worse than death, to be telling your relatives that she's going to put them in a home. And then as the years progressed, the nursing homes appeared to get a little bit better. I know my aunt was in one that, oh my goodness, it was a fancy place. They had a bowling alley in there. They had a hair salon. There was all kinds of games and stuff going on in there all the time, all kinds of activities for the patients. The food looked like, it had come from a 5-star restaurant. I couldn't believe some of the meals they were serving in there. They even, in the middle of the place, had this great big bird aviary where they had all kinds of parrots and cockatiels and cockatoos and parakeets and all kinds of critters. And I thought, that was just phenomenal. Great big old library, all kinds of stuff in that place. And I said, man, who would want to stay away from here? If you could muster up to be able to go, seems like this would be about like a resort.
Right.
But that's not taken into consideration, that if you're in there and you can't stay away from the nursing staff that's going to, kick the crap out of you, it doesn't matter how many amenities are in the place. If you can't enjoy yourself and see any peace, it wouldn't be a place you'd want to go.
It's just sad, supposedly, from what I saw in the article, like, guys, I'm not going to be posting and screen sharing until I know for sure how to do it, because I'm just afraid of the copyright strikes and stuff. And until me and Brenda get comfortable doing it, we're going to try not to, but we're going to try to post them, some links in the chat room to see how that goes, so you guys can go and look at what we're reading. A lot of this stuff that we're reading is coming off Google News, and they have some really good, interesting articles in there that I found. But it seems to be that Boston is the one that's having, Massachusetts is having an alarming rise of elder abuse in Boston. And and this article is coming from the Boston Post. So there's something going on up there where they're having an increase of elderly abuse. And I think it's disgusting. I really do. I think it's disgusting when you got to abuse the elderly. That ranks up there with dirt balls abusing kids. I mean, that is ranks up on the highest level for me. It's just totally disgusting. So, I mean, that's just my feeling on it.
Yeah, I have to agree with you. I don't know what kind of a mentality would cause somebody to want to abuse, whether, I don't care what age the patient is. If you've got a patient and you've gone into the nursing field or therapy field, or whatever medical field, what in the world would obsess you to want to abuse the person that you are supposed to be caring for? What is wrong with you? I mean, are they on drugs? How screwed up do you have to be mentally to do something like that? It boggles the imagination on where these people are coming from to pull this kind of thing. But I mean, and it's not just physical abuse or mental abuse. It's the thievery. They'll steal from these patients in these nursing homes.
Right. You know,
and when my aunt was in the nursing home, she didn't have, they wouldn't allow her to have anything in there. I mean, they said, no jewelry in here. They had a big list. She could only have like a few dollars or something. They had a little ice cream parlor and stuff there. And they said, if she wants, a couple bucks or something for ice cream, that's okay. But if she wants to get her hair done, it's put on a tab down there, and we take care of all that in the office. But we don't want anybody with any money in here. And as far as personal possessions, they were very limiting on what they could have as far as personal possessions.
Right.
Because staff would steal from them if they had anything.
Yep. So there's just so much. I mean, I've been saying it. What has happened to us as human beings? Compassion for others. Somewhere along the line, we lost it, and we need to find it, and we need to get it back, and we need to get it back quick. It's bad. It's bad. We need to get our compassion back for other human beings, and I hope it's soon. I really do. I hope and pray that it's soon, because where we're going now is really bad. Another thing I want to, if you look in the Google where I'm at, you're in the same page I am. World Health Organization is stating that coffee causes cancer now. Only if
that doesn't surprise me.
This is what I like.
I don't have.
This is what they're saying. Coffee causes cancer only if it's very hot, says the World Organization Agency. Are you kidding me? I'm not gonna give up my coffee. I'm sorry. I'm not.
Okay, I pulled it up here. Let's see. It doesn't really surprise me that they come up with this. I'm not a coffee drinker, but it doesn't really matter what you consume. They had the thing about the butter on the popcorn, and they had a thing about, eggs and this and that. Anything that you consume in excess can harm you. So, it's whatever they can possibly find to, poke at next. I think it's another little shiny object, here, let's let's get everybody upset about their coffee while we're over here passing some anti-gun bill. You know, and that's been in the news today too. I guess they resurrected this thing from 2014, where they are getting UN troops. They've got an ad out for UN troops to hire to disarm Americans.
Mm-hmm.
I can pull that article up as well. Let's see. I can find it here real quick. Well, I can't find anything real quick, I guess. Yeah, here it is. UN jobs.
I'll be right back.
It's
You go ahead. I got to use the boys' room.
All right. You can get out from under the desk. We'll allow it. We don't make no messes under the desk. Yeah, it's under United Nations Careers job opening ad. A disarmament, demolition, and registration officer, P4. Disarmament, demolition, and regeneration officer, Department of Peacekeeping Operations. Duty station is in New York. And the posted period was May the 27th, 2014 through July the 25th, 2014. But I guess they have resurrected this ad and are running it again. But they are trying to hire troops, UN troops, to come in and disarm us. You know, we knew that was coming with the Orlando thing. It's no huge surprise. There was an article that this was attached to, and it came from secretsofthefed.com. It says, well, let's see, it's got a little pop-up thing here I got to get rid of so I can read. There we go. Alert, United Nations hiring disarmament officers to take American guns. Emergency bulletin in the United Nations, by permission of the Obama administration, has started a program to disarm Americans. They are actively recruiting foreigners to apply for a position with a duty station of New York to come to America and be the aggressors in disarming Americans. Don't believe me? Here's the job announcement. I just read you the job announcement. Remember when Obama forced the small arms treaty through and signed it without consent of the Senate, aided and abetted by the traitors at Snopes, who propagated the idea that it was harmless? It's time to fight back, America. We are doomed unless we act now. So, you know, they're going to try to pull something, take the guns. They had this alert last night about the no fly, no buy is what Obama come up with. If you are a suspected terrorist on the no-fly list, then you're not allowed to buy a firearm. Well, we've already talked about how many things that they've already come up with, the Homeland Security, on what would make you a terrorist. If you disagree with anything Washington's doing, you're a terrorist. If you disagree with the Obama administration, you are a terrorist. If you don't like the laws and rules and regulations and bills and stuff that's being passed, you are a terrorist. It's not you may be. It is they consider it you are one. If you believe in the Constitution, you're a terrorist. And the list went on for 72 things that would make you a terrorist. So if they're going to put you on the terrorist list, then you're going to be on the no-fly list, which means when you go to buy a gun and they do the background check, you won't be allowed to buy a gun.
Mm-hmm.
So there you go.
I want to, I'm coming across the story, and the Senate approves defense bill requiring women to register for the draft. Is the draft, are they proposing to bring the draft back?
I think so. You know, because we're headed for World War III, and you know they're trying to get women to register. Well, they're it's mandatory. They're going to make women register for the draft.
Mhm.
So yeah, as soon as they can get war broke out over there in the Middle East again, they're going to need troops, and there's probably not going to be a whole lot of people signing up for this, especially the way they're going about it, unless they
Right.
get enough orchestrated. Yeah, I said it, orchestrated terrorist events over here to make it look like we are totally under attack, to make people jump on the bandwagon like what happened back at 9/11, that they're going to sign up and fight for America.
Hmm.
But as big as this is, we're going to be at war with Russia and China and all of them. They're going to have as many troops as they could possibly get. And it's hard telling how high the draft will go in age limit, because back during World War II, they were drafting people, I think, is up in their 40s, wasn't it?
I believe 45, I think it was.
So a lot of our young viewers out there better be careful, because you may be marching off to war whether you like it or not.
Hmm. So I don't know. I mean, how do you take it? Me, I think I'd be leery that sooner or later that they're gonna impose the draft again. I can see that coming, just by what they just did with this bill. Um, it's interesting, to say the least. So I don't know.
What I see coming is it's not a pretty picture. They're going to get this war going. They have to do it because of the economy.
Mhm.
And anytime you have a failing economy, you got to have a war. And the economy, this is going to be probably worse than what they had back in the 1920s. So the war's going to have to be a big one. And if it's a big one, we already know if we're going to war against Russia and China, with as many troops and stuff as them folks have, we're in for a fight on our hands. There's going to be a lot of bloodshed and a lot of people killed.
Mhm.
So, they got to come up with people to fight it from somewhere. And I remember back during the Vietnam War, how many people took off and went up to Canada. Well, shoot, Canada's in as bad a shape, if not worse than we are.
Uh-huh.
So, how are they going to thrive up there, other than the fact that they may not be, hauled off to fight overseas?
Right. I don't know. It's scary times right now. What we're doing. I seen, and I can't find it. Are they trying with the UN has an application out? I saw that. I think you're the one that sent it to me. On joining the UN for some special reason, or a job application.
Yeah, I just covered that while you got out from under the desk.
Oh,
that was the UN job detail, where the United Nations is hiring disarmament officers to disarm Americans.
uh-huh.
And this has been going on since 2014. It's not anything really new, but it's being pumped up now because of this Orlando shooting. He's bound determined that he's going to try to get our guns away from us before the end of his term. And who knows when the end of his term is really going to be. A lot of people think it'll be the inauguration January 20th next year. I'm not convinced of that. I think he's aiming to stay in there a while, but, we shall see. But either way, he's goosing things up to see if he can't get the guns away from us. And the deal was that he came out last night and said, no fly, no buy. If you are a suspected terrorist and you are on the no-fly list, you will not be able to buy a gun.
Uh-huh.
Well, how many of us are on the no-fly list, you reckon?
Probably every last one of us that are here.
I mean, I'm tempted to go up to the gun shop and see if I can buy one, just find out if I can.
Uh-huh.
Just to see if they turn around and say, well, sorry, you can't buy one.
Right. I saw somewhere on the news that, oh hell, what do you call it? I'm trying to be really nice to the dingbat that's in our house on Pennsylvania Avenue. He signed some executive order on gun control. I'm trying to find where I saw it at. I heard it on the news this morning. And
that was a no fly, no buy, wasn't it?
Is it? I'm not.
That's the one he came out with yesterday.
Right. Oh, man.
I think you was on Rev Radio when they brought it up last night.
No, was it? Hell, I don't remember. But all I know, they're coming. They're coming for. They want to push this gun control. They want to put. And I don't. I mean, they can push it, but I don't see many Americans laying down their guns. I really don't. That's just my opinion. I really don't see anybody laying down to give up their guns. Now, I could be wrong. I don't know. I just don't know. But as far as the no-fly list, they're watching what we do here on the internet. And that, with everything going on with the terrorists and the threats that are on us, we're all on some type of watch list because of what we're doing. And we have to be careful on what you say and how you present yourself in Facebook, Twitter, which I have no clue how to work that damn thing. I'm staying away from it because I can't figure it out.
I tried it a time or two. It wasn't worth anything as far as I was concerned, so I just kind of abandoned it. But hey, I've just got one in here. It's off of Fox 8, and it's the North Carolina House seeks a gun rights amendment bill one day after the mass shooting in Orlando nightclub. Mm-hmm. And it says a day after Omar Mateen. Oh shoot, scrolled up too fast on me. It either don't want to scroll at all or it goes all at one time. Let's see. A day after Omar Mateen entered a gay nightclub in Orlando and murdered 49 people, the North Carolina House has introduced gun rights amendment bill. Q Notes reports. HB 1148 has been added to the June 13th House calendar with Republican Representative Larry Pittman, Michael Spiegel, Mark Brody, and Jeff Collins listed as primary sponsors. Republican Representative Burt Jones and George G. Cleveland are also listed. The bill, which is yet to be titled, is described as an act to amend the North Carolina Constitution to protect a person's right to carry a concealed weapon. The amendment would be put to a vote by North Carolina voters in an upcoming general election in November. And it goes on a little bit, but that's pretty much the gist of the whole thing. But yeah, it's not surprising that they're, jumping on the bandwagon when they're trying to get the guns away from us. That's all part of the liberal agenda.
Right.
But yeah, they brought up the gay nightclub, and I don't know, I guess, everybody that's probably listening has heard this, but I have some of my friends from Facebook that don't follow a lot of things that we follow, so I'll go ahead and throw this out there in case they hadn't heard it. But that dude that did the shooting, he was it came out yesterday that he was a regular at that gay nightclub. A lot of the fellas in there knew him, and that he was in there picking up men all the time. He might not show up for a week or two, but they said that wasn't unusual because they had a tendency to kind of go to different bars on different weekends and stuff. So if they didn't see him, it wasn't any big thing. But yeah, he was a regular down there.
Well, they said he was on some gay chat room he always visited. So I guess that's what they're finding on his computers right now. I don't know. To me, it really doesn't matter. I mean, you killed Americans. And, they're making it. How do you want to say it? You had them under your eyes. You had them in your sights. You knew there was an issue with this man. You know there's an issue with his father because his father is radical. You know this. But yet we have an idiot running our White House, our house, the people's house, coming out and criticizing everybody and being belligerent about it, that this ain't terrorism. You cannot say Islamic terrorism. You can't do this. You can't say that. It's the guns. It's the guns. Well, what's next? Cars? Phones?
Ball bats?
Baseball bats? Knives? What's next? Shovels?
Box cutters?
You got it.
Garden trowel?
Mm-hmm.
A box of chocolates?
Correct me if I'm wrong. In 1950,
Life is like a box of chocolates, Pat.
I saw somewhere, and I've heard other hosts say this, and I'm going to look further into it because I was never aware of it. Supposedly in 1954, there was a law that was signed not allowing these Middle Eastern individuals to come into the United States because of their beliefs and that they were a danger to us. Did you hear? I'm going to look further into that. You there?
Yeah. We have a Muslim in our White House. I mean, it's just that simple. And he's going to try to protect those people over Americans. How in the world he's gotten in there, it's beyond me. And how he got 2 terms in there boggles my imagination. He's got all of his Muslim buddies all lined out in high power places.
Mm-hmm.
And he is ruling like a dictator. And I mean, I have looked at all these other countries over the years where, they got up in arms and they overthrew their dictators.
Mm-hmm.
And they staged coups and everything else in order to get the dictators out. And yet, America sits here complacent, allowing what is going on in Washington to go on. I am absolutely amazed that there is not an uprising. I think everybody just kind of sits back and says, oh, well, we only have to put up with it for 4 more years or 2 more years or 1 more year or a few more months. I think they're in for a rude awakening when he doesn't leave. I believe he's growed roots.
I heard, I listened to that. People believe that he's going to try to do something where he's not going to leave office with this martial law thing. I just find it interesting that we have to sit back and accommodate a certain belief, and we don't have the right to speak up anymore. You know, that Loretta Lynch has already come out and said, if you disrespect the Muslim faith, we're going to charge you or come after you. We're going to sue you. We're going to do this to you. We're going to do that to you. But you can disrespect, degrade American people, and that's all right. You know, how he got reelected is because of all these promises of the freebies, free cell phones, free health care, basically bribing the people to believe in his BS.
Well, you remember 8 years ago when he stood on the platform and he kept preaching and harping and preaching and harping about change. We need change. We need change. And now I have to look around to the people that voted for him and just look them square in the eye and say, how is that change working out for you?
Mm-hmm.
Because I'll guarantee they ain't no better off now than they were back then. They're probably worse off. And it's going to get way worse in the next, at least in the next 12 months. It's going to be devastatingly worse.
I believe it. I see that coming. I really do.
I mean, I hope everybody took my advice yesterday when we was talking a little bit about prepping. And I said, look, you need to get to thinking about what you're going to need. What do you use every day? Or what do you use once a week? Or what do you use in case of an emergency that you need to keep on hand? And go to making a list out and go to the store. If not every day, go at least once a week and pick up a few of them things on that list. I noticed this morning, I ran up to the grocery store this morning. I had just a little handful of stuff that I wanted to pick up. And I thought, you know, I'm about out of iodine. I think I'm going to walk over there to the pharmacy area and I'm going to get a bottle of iodine. You know, there's out of iodine in the pharmacy department. Not one bottle of iodine to be found.
Really?
Really. They had mercurochrome, but they didn't have any iodine. You need to keep peroxide and stuff like that on hand. Keep some Band-Aids on hand. Some alcohol, some gauze, some medical tape. You know, just your basic things that you need in case of an emergency for medical care. And, you know, just go to think about maybe some Epsom salts. Another good thing, and Jay Grady would know this because of her sunburn, but you need to keep some vinegar. Apple cider vinegar is the best, but any kind of vinegar. Go buy you a great big gallon jug of vinegar and keep that on hand. It's great for sunburns. It's a nice disinfectant for cuts and that sort of thing. You need to keep honey on hand. Honey is another good disinfectant. Just little things like that. Just make a list of stuff that you need, and every time you go to the store, pick up 2 or 3 things on that list. It doesn't have to be expensive stuff. You don't have to even get a whole lot of it. You know, think about things like, look, if I didn't have any electricity, let's just say for 24 hours you got no electricity and you need to cook. Do you have a way that you can cook if you don't have any electricity? Do you have a grill? Whether it's a charcoal grill or a gas grill. If you got a gas grill, you need to have some extra gas on hand. Charcoal grill, you need some extra charcoal. Do you have a fire pit that you could throw a grate over and iron skillet or an iron pot? You have I've got a metal coffee pot. You know, you might want to have a metal coffee pot that you could put on top of that grate. Just, you know, things where you're able to cook a little bit. You're going to have water on hand. You have some kind of a water filter on hand. We'll talk in depth on this in a show in the future on collection, water collection and that sort of thing. If you're an extended period of time without water and you used up all your bottled water, what are you going to do to get water? But you know, how are you going to keep warm? If you don't have a fireplace and your electricity is shut off, either the grid's down or you can't afford electricity anymore, how are you going to keep warm? Do you have a kerosene heater and a supply of kerosene on hand? You know, these are things you need to think about on what you're going to need and what you're going to do? Do you have a garden? Do you have at least some pots that you can stick some seeds in? Do you have a supply of seeds? And how long is that supply of seeds going to be good? Do you have it in a place where they're going to stay fertile so that you can use them? If you don't know how to do that, you better be pulling up some videos and learning some skills on this kind of stuff, because these kind of things are going to be important.
Yep. So true.
You had another article here that we haven't talked about, Pat. A Chinese spy ship shadowing the U.S. Navy vessel. You know, we've been over there aggravating the tar out of all them people, trying to instigate some kind of a war to break out, just waiting for somebody to get froggy. And we're getting closer and closer and closer to making somebody mad with the foolishness that's been going on over there, because Obama wants that war. He's going to have that war one way or the other. But he's trying to get the other guy to get stirred up first and do something silly. But they got a Chinese observation ship shadowed the U.S. aircraft carrier John C. Stennis in the Western Pacific on Wednesday, as it joined warships from Japan and India for drills close to waters Beijing considers its backyard, the carrier's commander said. The show of U.S. naval power comes as Japan and the U.S. states, or the United States, worry China is extending its influence into the Western Pacific with submarines and surface vessels as it pushes territorial claims in the neighboring South China Sea, expanding and building on islands. China has been angered by what it views as provocative U.S. military patrols close to the islands. Well, imagine that. The U.S. says the patrols are to protect freedom of navigation. Tokyo on Wednesday said a separate Chinese Navy observation ship entered its territorial waters south of its southern Kyushu Island. China said it was acting within the law and following the principle of freedom of navigation. There is a Chinese vessel about 7 to 10 miles away, Captain Gregory C. Huffman, commander of the Stennis, told reporters aboard the carrier after it recovered its F-18 jet fighters taking part in the exercise. The Chinese ship had followed the U.S. vessel from the South China Sea, he added. Chinese Foreign Ministry spokesman Liu Kang said he was unaware of the situation. Beijing views access to the Pacific as vital, both as a supply line to the rest of the world's oceans and for the projection of its naval power. The 100,000-ton Stennis joined 9 other naval ships, including a Japanese helicopter carrier and the Indian frigates in the seas off the Okinawan Island chain. Sub-hunting patrol planes launched from bases in Japan are also participating in the joint annual exercise dubbed Maur. And the article goes on. This was pulled off of the Huffington Post. And I think I got this article from Google News. So if you go to Google News, you'll find it. Chinese spy ship shadowing the U.S. Navy vessel. But that's it in a nutshell. Yeah, we're over there aggravating everybody, trying to get somebody to do something silly. So far, they're holding off on putting us in our place.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I've been posting the links in the chat room. I figured that out. Woohoo! I got something right.
Yeah, it wouldn't hurt anything to put the these URLs in the description of the video too, for people to watch this after we go off the air live. I know that some of my Facebook buddies and stuff look at it after we're done.
Hey, I'm learning one step at a time, okay? I'm taking baby steps here. For crying out loud. Getting me overloaded with stuff. Yeah, it's you know, I'm not trying to promote fear, conspiracy, any of that. I'm just saying we gotta be vigilant. something's coming. We all agree something is coming down the road. What it is, I have no idea, but we know it's coming. You know that ISIS, ISIL, whatever the hell you want to call them, you know, put out orders for the sleeper cells that are here to attack us during this Ramadan. So you know there's another attack coming. When? None of us know. But it's coming. And we all need to stay focused on what is coming our way. And we need to, you know, show these, I'm trying not to cuss, I'm really trying not to, show these dirt bags that we are united and we're not going to tolerate this crap here. You know, we're going to fight back. Take your asses back to wherever it is you come from. You want to destroy your own country, you go destroy it. But you're not going to come here and destroy it, because we're Americans and we're standing together and we're standing united, and we're not going to tolerate it. You know, call me naive, call me whatever you want to call me, but I believe it in my heart that we all need to stand side by side and show these crazy SOBs that we're standing strong and we're going to kick your ass. You're not going to come over here and destroy what we've all worked for and our ancestors worked for, you know? And it's pretty pathetic that we're not standing together. All of us are not coming together.
People are scared of it, though, Pat, because, you know, you got Washington backing it up. That, oh, you can't do nothing to them Muslims. That's not politically correct. You know, it's not the Muslims. It's this terrorist cell. It's these radicals. You can't just, you know, turn on the Muslim people, and that just wouldn't be right. And if people stand up against them and say, now, look, we're not putting up with you. You got to get out of here. We're not having your mosque in our neighborhood. We're not going to have you worshiping in our neighborhoods. You run, you know, it's a fine line, because you got in the Constitution that we do have freedom of religion. But, you know, where you don't want to go against the Constitution. I mean, you can't be both ways on it. You can't say, well, I'm for the Constitution, except for this part. So,
well, that's what I mean.
You know, how do you figure out, okay, well, who are the ones that are really wanting to do us harm? Are there ones in here that's not wanting to do us harm, or are they all wanting to do us harm?
You know, my question is, we hear that there are good Muslims. There's good, they're faith-loving. Where are they, the ones that are so-called good, that are against this evil? Where are they at? How come they're not coming out and speaking against this?
Well, I think they're afraid of the radicals. You know, if they speak out, then they're going to be called infidels, and, you know, it's off with their heads.
Right.
It'd probably be worse on them than it is on us. You know, us non-Muslim believers. So, you know, I can understand the fear, but there is also a point where you say, well, okay, I'm scared, but I'm not going to be intimidated. And I don't think people have gotten to that point yet. I think it will come, but at what loss? You know, what do we have to suffer before people come to the realization that they have to stand up, no matter how scared they are? They have to say, we're not going to take your murdering. We're not going to take your hate. That ends right here. We're putting a stop to it right now.
You know, that's my question. Where are they? You know, come out and speak against it. You want to be here. You want to be a part of the freedoms that we have here. Speak up. Where are you at? I'm tired of being labeled as some type of racist or whatever. No, I'm an American. And I am not going to sit back and watch you idiots come into this country and destroy everything that we've worked for with the blood, the sweat, the tears. Are we a perfect country? No, we have our problems. But we need to come together and be Americans. You know, I'm tired of these libtards and this damn mainstream media pointing out, oh, the Muslim faith is a good and faithful faith, and you can't compare the two together. Horse crap. Listen to people that have read this Quran, or whatever you want to call it. You know, doesn't it state in their Quran to exercise murdering infidels because we don't believe in your ways? You know,
well, I haven't read it, but I believe that that is what it says. You know, here's what I'm wondering. If it does indeed say that, then is there a way that we can, I don't know, get it through Congress, or, I mean, not our current Congress. We'd have to have one that actually followed laws. But, you know, if we had elected officials in there that could pass something that says, if you have a religion, and I don't care what religion it is, if it's Muslim or, you know, Satanism, or, you know, pick one, anyone, that says that you have the right to kill Americans, kill other living people, because they don't agree with your religious beliefs, it's no longer religion. I think if we had something like that, now, you know, I'm not always right, but it would make sense to me that if we had something like that that says, you know, we're not going to recognize a religion under our Constitution that warrants killing people because they don't agree with your beliefs. That is no longer religion.
I get a kick out of it, and I get a real kick out of this. You have these damn, and I'm calling them libtards. I don't care who gets mad at me or whatever. They are libtards. They're going CNN, Fox, MSNBC, all of them. It's Donald Trump's fault. It's Donald Trump. He is promoting the terrorist attack here in this country. Really? The only thing that man said is put a temporary ban on these individuals coming into this country so we can find out who they are, what their intentions are, and keep track of them. That is what he said. He did not say banned all Muslims permanently to never come into this country. He did not say that. A temporary ban so we can figure out who is coming in here. And I don't see nothing wrong on what he said. Nothing. But yet, these libtards are calling him a racist. He's the one that's promoting this. No, he's not. Why is it so hard to protect our borders, to find out who's coming into our country? Are they coming in here to do us harm, or do they want to come here to a new life for themselves with the freedoms that we have? They want to be a part of it. I have no problem with anybody wanting to come into our country that wants to better themselves, to enjoy the freedoms that we enjoy. I have no problem with that. But I do have a problem with the ones that want to bring the BS over here and cause havoc. That I have.
Okay, I have a question. When was it exactly that people from other countries, I don't care which country, pick one, were able to just start walking in here like they own the place? When exactly was it that they didn't have to go through channels like we would have to go through if we went to any other country in the world to declare you know, that we were from America and that, you know, we were there for whatever purpose, whether it's education or vacation or, you know, whatever, visit or what have you. When was it that they just opened the borders and said, come on in, we don't care who you are, we don't care what your intentions are, come on in. I mean, along with that, they just started passing out stuff. They said, come on in for free health care, come on in for food, come on in for handouts.
You know where that started, and I believe it. I could be wrong, but I believe I'm not fond of either politician, you know, Republican or Democrat right now. But the Democrats are the ones that are pushing for this open border policy. And the reason they're doing it is so they can get the votes to stay and keep their cozy jobs in office. Look at some of the states that they're criticizing. You know, before you vote, you have to show ID. Yeah. So I have to show an ID. You have to show an ID to get on a plane, don't you? Sometimes you got to show an ID to cash a check, don't you? You have to show an ID to get a driver's license, insurance, what have you. So what's wrong with having to show an ID? That is not voter discrimination. That is not taking your rights away from voting. My belief is show the ID to show that you are a citizen here. I don't see a problem in it. But now we're running into a problem now, and probably if Jeremy's still in the chat room, he can help me out with this. Isn't California the first state to start issuing driver's license to illegal immigrants? I don't know. I believe California was the first one. But I have no problem with people coming here legally, going through the channels to become a citizen here. I have no problem with that. Do you think if we went to Mexico or Canada or anywhere else and tried pulling the crap that is being pulled on here, our asses would probably be in jail? Or they would just kick our asses out, and that would be it.
I'd like to see you try it. Go down to Mexico. Just go on down to Mexico, see what happens till you go in there illegally.
That's what I'm saying. I mean, people are just so blindfolded by the BS that these libtards are spewing out of their mouth. And here, you know, here's another point that I may get criticized for, but oh well, here it goes. These damn libtards, look at the cities that the Democrats are running. Look at them. And then come back and tell me they've destroyed Chicago. They've destroyed Atlanta. They destroyed Detroit. Jeremy, correct me if I'm wrong. They destroyed California with their liberal ways. But yet people will sit back and fall for it because they're going to get freebies. We're going to get free cell phones. We're going to get this. We're going to get that. You know,
they demand it. It's
right.
Not just that they're going to get it. They demand it.
I mean, honestly,
if they don't get it, they start tearing everything up.
That's right. You know,
well, why aren't Americans doing the same thing? I mean, we allowed them to pass that unaffordable health care act. Many of us do not have any health coverage whatsoever, and we are fined on our income tax if we don't have some kind of insurance coverage. They're trying to force us into buying a product that we don't want, that has a bunch of stuff written up in the act itself that is unconstitutional. And as far as I'm concerned, totally inhumane, some of the stuff that's in that. But we don't tear up Jack. We don't go rioting and throwing fits and saying, oh, you know, we're not going to put up with this and you owe us. And
You know,
Where are the riots about the EBT cards? I mean, those things have been shut off. There's been a bunch of them shut off for how long? And I have not heard or read one story where people, well, there was the one lady that tore up a little bit up at the cash register. But I mean, you don't see cities going berserk and, EBT card, SNAP card people tearing up cities and, burning down anything because the EBT cards are shut off.
Because we haven't gotten there yet. And the mainstream.
But yet we have the illegals coming in here and having absolute fits, tearing things all to hell if they don't get exactly what they want. Or what they think they deserve for coming across the border. Why weren't they tearing stuff up in their own country because they wasn't getting what they wanted?
Very true.
Because it's easier to come up here, they'll get away with it.
I understand people's concerns, voting, whether you vote, you don't vote. I mean, that's your right. That is your God-given right. And I won't condemn anybody. But we need to look at, if we don't stand up and everybody rally around a candidate, either Donald Trump or whoever, anyone besides Hillary, because I'm telling you guys, if this witch gets in office, the First Amendment is gone, the Second Amendment is gone.
Exactly.
Because she's going to find, you already have judges now. Look at, there was a judge in California said the Second Amendment doesn't apply to bear arms. The nonsense, we got to stop the nonsense. We have to stop it. Everywhere, I understand people's little concerns with Donald Trump, and I understand it. I get it. A lot of people don't like it, I believe, because he's telling you how it is. He is telling you how it is. Not too long ago, we did have a candidate running, Ross Perot, that warned us that this crap was coming, and nobody listened to him. Nobody listened to him. They laughed at him. They threatened his wife and his family to force him to drop out and to shut up. But they can't do it to Donald Trump, because Donald Trump is not going to back down. I'm not saying he's going to be the savior. There is no savior. We have to stand together and do it. And stand strong against and tell these people we're not taking it no more. There's such a double standard in this country anymore. And everybody should be outraged by it. Petraeus, they crucified that man. Hillary has done much worse than what Petraeus done, and she's getting away with it. She's getting away with it by the politicians. She's getting away with a free ride with mainstream media. She should be in jail, her and her husband. That Clinton Foundation took foreign money when she was Secretary of State. Foreign money. Her hands are so deep into this Uranium One, and I don't hear anybody talking about that anymore. Little bits and pieces about it. That whole Oregon deal is about uranium. It's not about Pete Santilli, about Ammon, the Bundys, everybody that was involved. They locked their asses up because they were getting too close. Ammon was starting to find proof that our politicians have their hands in selling our land away to foreign governments. So they had to stop it quick and shut them up. We have to start talking about this and getting it out. These politicians have sold us down the river. And the biggest family that is so corrupt, it's disgusting, is Clintons. I thought the Kennedys were corrupt, but crap. As far as I'm concerned, the Clintons got the Kennedys beat by far.
And the Bushes aren't far behind them.
That's true too, and I agree with you.
I mean, I've got some friends that they hear my ideas on things and they say, "Oh, you're just a Republican." I said, "No, I'm not a Republican. I'm not nothing." I can remember my dad as I was growing up. For years and years he said he was a Democrat, and then he got to a point he says, "No, I'm not a Democrat. I think I'm going to switch over to Republican." And he did Republican for a while, and then he said, "Hey, it's taken me a long time to figure this out, but I'll tell you what, I ain't nothing. I don't believe in any of them. I don't believe in nothing that any of them stand for because they're just a bunch of liars, a bunch of crooks and a bunch of liars." And that's I've had that attitude for years. I really get disgusted when you go to the polls and they make you sign up one way or the other on how you're going to vote. First of all, I don't think it's any of their damn business. And the second one is that I don't believe in the two-party system. I think that we need to have individuals running. Let them throw their hat in the ring and say what they stand for. And we'll go from there with what we vote. We don't need Democrats. We don't need Republicans. We need Americans. We need constitutional believers that are going to get in there and uphold what this country stands for.
Yes.
We don't need a bunch of liars and crooks in there trying to vote themselves raises and take advantage of the American taxpayers.
Why do we have to be labeled? Why? It doesn't make no sense to me. Does not make sense.
Well, so that they can have the Democratic elections, and they can have the electoral votes for each of the parties, and so they can doctor it up and get whoever they decide that they want in there in office, despite what the American people want. We need to get rid of that electoral college crap and start letting the American people choose who they want in there. And we need to start kind of keeping track of our citizenship, those of us that are responsible people, and make sure that people understand what they are voting for. A lot of them just go to the polls and they just poke a button. They don't even know who they're voting for. I mean, nope. I really don't care how you vote as long as you know what you're voting for.
I don't know, Brenda. I mean, I know the politics issue is a very touchy subject with a lot of people. But you gotta talk about it. You have to.
Yep.
I mean, look at the division that we have in this country. We're fighting amongst ourselves because you don't think the same way as to another individual, but you're ridiculed for it. You're chastised for it. Look at I haven't seen it yet, but Atlanta, the Fox Theater or whatever, I can't remember what it's called. They're bracing for trouble with a Trump rally. So Trump's telling people to go in the street and protest and cause havoc and to assault people. Really? And I think a lot of these people that are fighting against Trump is because they're afraid they're going to lose all their freebies if he gets in office.
Well, yeah. But what they don't understand is they're going to lose their freebies anyway, because what's in office now is going to take everything away from everybody, and that includes food supply, the water supply, the electric supply, all your luxuries, your gasoline. They're going to take everything away from you.
Oh, breaking news. Hold on, I'm going to post this in the chat room. Breaking news.
What day is this from, Pat?
It's on the Google News. I said
what day?
What day? No, 15 minutes ago, Fox News is reporting cops hunt for a shooter after a father gunned down while son sat in a barber chair. So this is coming across the wire right now. Oh, I'm pulling it up here. Police were on the hunt for a shooter Wednesday afternoon. They said a father was gunned down outside a barber shop in Boston while his 4-year-old son was sitting in a barber chair getting a haircut. Church leaders said the dad, 31 years old, was working to develop a program to combat youth violence before he was shot dead. So that's coming across right now. Police declare the shooting an active homicide investigation. And they're still searching for the shooter.
Well, there's another excuse for their gun control.
Yep. The shooting marked the 14th homicide in Boston this year, up slightly from the same period last year. So they're really not saying too much on it right now, but they are looking for the shooter that gunned down a father while his 4-year-old son was sitting in a barber chair.
Well, here's the thing. They're going to want to scream gun control and stuff on that, but look at Chicago. They got gun control up there.
Uh-huh.
But there's people shot up there all the time. How's come there ain't no breaking news from Chicago? I bet you anything, if you dug around at some Chicago news, you'd find where there's been people murdered up there just since midnight.
Well, over the Memorial Weekend, they had over 60 people shot, and just in that short weekend, holiday weekend.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. If you could get a hold of anything out of Chicago and look at that, I bet you anything you'd find where there's people been killed up there today. But you're seeing this thing in Boston. You're not seeing anything out of Chicago where gun control is.
Mm-hmm. It's just, oh man.
There's anything to further the agenda to kill the Second Amendment.
Yep. Exactly. So that's coming across the wire right now, folks. An active shooter in Boston. They're on the looking for him, and it's sad.
Pat, you're doing better under the desk today than you did sitting up in the chair yesterday.
I know, it's more comfortable under the desk. I got to just watch bumping the bald spot on my head because it might hurt.
I'm glad everybody enjoys me and you bantering back and forth with each other.
I hope so. I hope so. I hope we're getting better at this. I really do. Yeah, so.
Yeah, WeTree checked it out. She said 37 dead in Chicago. We type up there 37 dead in what period of time? Was that just yesterday, or has that been since midnight?
I don't know.
I'm waiting for her to type it up there. Tell us what that time frame is. A little bit of delay. Come on, Will, get with the program. Type it up there. Yesterday. All right, now we know. Yeah, 37 dead yesterday, but you don't see that coming across as breaking news.
No, you don't.
Yeah. See, they tell us what they want us to know. We're the mushrooms.
I just posted another one in the chat room that some of you, I don't know, I'm probably too old, and some of you might be too young to remember. Led Zeppelin appeared in court over Stairway to Heaven dispute. So the article I just posted in the chat room.
Yeah?
Yep. They're being sued over the lyrics, apparently, of the famous song "Stairway to Heaven."
Well, holy smoke! Who in the world? I got to pull that one up and take a look at it because that is an old song. Who waited this long to bring up a lawsuit on it?
Uh-huh.
Guitarist Jimmy Page and singer Robert Plant are expected to give evidence at the civil case in Los Angeles. They are accused of lifting the song's opening notes from Taurus, a 1967 track by the band Spirit. Page, age 72, and Plant, age 67, are being sued by a trust acting for a founding member of Spirit who died in 1997. Good golly, that was like 20 years ago that this guy died, and 40 years ago, 50 years ago, since they wrote the song.
Uh-huh.
And it's just now? I mean, somebody must be money hungry to be bringing that up now at this late date. Holy smoke. Well, I hope that, yeah, I hope that Plant and them can defend themselves in this and win it. Good golly.
Yep.
Because it seems to me like that'd be an awful frivolous thing after all these years. But it come out right away after they come out with the song, then I'd say, well, you know, okay, people make mistakes. But this far into it,
Mm-hmm.
my goodness. But yeah, these young people, they probably, I'm going to pull up the chat room. I bet they've never even heard Stairway to Heaven. They probably hear Stairway to Heaven on the Muzak up at the Walmart store.
Oh, man. Wow.
That's an oldie for them, you know. We remember it like it was yesterday, Pat, but, you know, they don't remember that.
Wow. And
These youngsters, they don't know what good times we used to have.
yeah, right. And here's something funny I found, and I'm gonna post this one too. Prince William becomes the first royal to appear on a cover of a gay magazine.
William or Harry?
It says William. I'm gonna post it right now. That's coming out of the UK.
Okay, you post up there. I'll pull that up and take a look at it. William's married. He's the one that's married to Kate with two youngins.
Uh-huh.
Now Harry's the one that's kind of, you know, all over the map. You never know what Harry's going to do next.
Well, it's in the chat room for you there. I just posted it.
Harry's been reported as experimental, and he's been seen in orgies and nudist things and everything else, but not William. Making history. Prince William meets attitude. No one should be bullied for their sexuality or any other reason. Okay. So he's speaking out. It's not saying that he's gay. All right. He's just speaking out on a gay magazine about gay rights. All right. That I can buy.
Mm-hmm.
I was having a little rough time thinking that, you know, he was gay and being married to Kate.
One more that I'm going to post.
I wouldn't think Kate would put up with it, but, you know.
Mm-hmm. One more that I'm posting that's just Reuters is just breaking right now. Russia warns NATO not to build up naval forces in the Baltics.
Well, see, that's more the banner. They're bannering back and forth, and we poke them, and then they warn us, and we poke them again, and they warn us again, and eventually they're going to get tired of being poked.
Yep.
And that's what Washington's waiting for.
You know, you got to be concerned because Putin doesn't play. You know, when Putin says when he says he's going to do something, he's going to do it.
And he can't stand Obama.
Oh no, he can't. So, we got to pay attention to this because, you know, what's funny though? Look what Putin does to the terrorists in Russia. Look what he does to their families. He goes after everyone. You kill a Russian and you're a terrorist.
And Putin has tried to wake America up to what we're going through. I think he's probably very disgusted that America is not standing up to Obama and the administration and marching on Washington and, running him out tarred and feathered on a rail. But he has tried his best to bring it to our attention as recent as just a couple of weeks ago when he stuck out his hand and said, come on, help us fight terrorism. And Washington looked at him and said, I don't think so.
Yep.
And Putin's got to be sitting over there just shaking his head thinking, why in the world will Americans just sit back and allow him to do that? And, he's probably thinking as far as the terrorist attack there in Orlando, well, the Americans are going to get whatever it is that they deserve for not standing up to him and saying, hey, we're not putting up with this. But we want to fight the terrorism, stop taking arms over there and handing to these radical people and put an end to this.
Yep. We better start paying attention. We really need to start paying attention to what is going on. Big changes are coming, people, and we need to wake up. We just can't sit back anymore. I said it before. If you love this country, it's time for all of us to come together and stand up and fight for our kids and our grandkids. I'm afraid when my grandkids get to be my age, is this going to be the America that I grew up, or is it going to be a third world country? The stupidity's got to stop. I mean, it's insane on what is happening to us.
Yep.
It's sad. Our forefathers must be rolling in their graves. Our grandparents, our great-grandparents must be rolling in their graves, seeing what they worked so hard for this country is basically gone. And it's sad. It's really sad to see what we are becoming.
Well, Pat, when we were kids, we used to be able to go out and play and go out. Mom would kick us out of the house, daylight, or as soon as we was up and had breakfast, she'd put us out and say, now you go out and play. And then by dark, you were supposed to be back in the house. If you was behaving yourself, you might get some lunch. And you can't even turn your kids out to play anymore because you got to be afraid of what's going to go on, if they're going to get shot, if somebody's going to snatch them. If somebody's going to try to sell them drugs or, something of that nature. I know I got a big wake-up call, and good golly, this has probably been now about at least 15 years ago. But I was talking to somebody on a ham radio one day, and it was another lady, and she had some kids, and she was talking about how she had to go shopping that afternoon because she had to buy bike helmets. And I knew that her kids weren't old enough to be on motorcycles. They were grade school kids. And I said, bike helmets? I said, what do your kids need bike helmets for? And she says, oh, we have to have them with bike helmets and knee pads and elbow pads and stuff. And I said, well, for what? And I was being serious, and she thought I was, off my rocker. And she said, well, for bicycles. And I said, well, what in the world do they need all that for? And she says, well, if you don't have bike helmets and knee pads and elbow pads on your kids and the cops see them out there riding bicycles, you'll get ticketed for that and probably have CPS at your door because you're not protecting your kids right. And I was just in utter shock because we never heard of such things when I was a kid. You just go out and get on your bicycle and pedal your happy hiney wherever it was that you needed to go. If you fell off, you got scraped, cut, and you come home. Mom slaps some Mercurochrome on you and pick the gravel out of you and sends you back out to play. You didn't have to have knee pads and elbow pads and helmets and wrapped in bubble wrap and good God.
You know, when I was growing up, I had my both my great grandmother and my grandmother. I remember one time my great grandmother would sit on our front porch, and she'd be in her rocking chair because she would love to be in the rocking chair, just watching the kids in the neighborhood and paying attention. But she always had a broom handle next to her. And man, if you were late coming home for dinner or just late coming home from curfew, man, you got that wooden handle across your butt. Oh, big time. And then my grandmother, I did something. I can't remember what I did, but I did something that made her mad, and she smacked me up, and I laughed at her. And I was walking to the front door to leave, and I caught something go right past me. You know those old cast iron skillet pans? Well, she threw that at me, and that damn thing, and that stuck into the wall. And then she started crying, realizing that if it would have hit me, she could have probably killed me.
Oh, I thought she was going to say she cried because that was her favorite skillet.
You know, so I mean, we've done some. I remember one time, me and my brothers were horsing around in the house, and my brother was being a wise ass, and he said something about what the hell were they talking about? Something about sex and 69 and all that stuff. My grandmother said, "Well, what's a 69?" So my brother goes into my father had these old porn tapes, so my brother went in and got a porn tape and put it on and said, "Here, Nana, that's a 69." Holy crap!
Oh,
You thought we committed murder? Oh my God!
Oh yeah.
Boy, did she tear into my father. Oh my God. It was so funny. And we're laughing and we're getting in trouble because we went into his room, and it was just funnier than hell. It was just funny.
Oh my. But yeah, times sure have changed. It's amazing the stuff that you're not allowed to do now. You know, laws against everything. We used to ride in the back of the pickup truck and even leaning on the tailgate. You know, you're not allowed to ride in the back of the pickup truck anymore, let alone be up against the tailgate on it. And
Yep.
you know, if you fell out, well, you know, you roll around on the ground a minute and you get up, and then you'd have to walk home because you fell out of the truck. It wasn't no big crime. You generally didn't get hurt too bad, busted up a little bit, bruised, and you know whatever. But you learned not to, you know, you learned to hang on a little bit better.
Right. It's just amazing, you know. I mean, I remember we would do something stupid, and in the town we grew up in, everybody knew my father because he was a fire chief, and you know, and the cops, we would do something stupid, and there was this one cop that God rest his soul, Tommy Dementi, loved the man. He would catch us doing something, and he would whoop our ass and then bring us home and dare us to tell my father. Because I knew if I said anything to my father, I would get even more of a whooping for doing something stupid. You know, I remember when he caught my brother with a cigarette, and he sat there and made my brother smoke a whole pack of cigarettes. My brother turned so green, throwing up, and then got home and got his ass beat because he had a cigarette. And he's trying to throw up, and he's getting his butt beat and screamed at because he had a cigarette. But if you do that,
they used to.
Huh?
Yeah, they used to give paddlings when we was in school. You know, if you misbehaved and went to the principal's office and got a paddling, The word was that whatever it was you got at school, you get 10 times worse when you got home.
Oh yeah.
Because mama didn't send you to school to get in trouble. You was going to school for an education. And if you get in trouble in school, you're really going to get it when you get home. And now they can't discipline the kids in school. The kids run wild. Uh, can't make a mind, and they just put them on a drug.
I got
They
one.
didn't.
I got a good one for you. I can honestly say, and I laugh about it today, that I failed home ec and sex ed class. I failed it. Okay? We had a teacher and she was showing diagrams on the board. And me being a smartass said, well, can you show us a live demonstration?
Oh my God.
Oh man. So I can honestly say I got kicked out of that class and was never allowed back in her class.
Oh, holy smoke.
But it was
Now,
fun.
I failed one class when I was in high school, and mom got mad at me over it because my mother was one where anything you did that would make her look bad if people found out about it, she was mad.
Uh-huh.
And I never shared that idea because whatever I did on my own, and it wasn't to make her look bad. It was because it was something that I needed to do. But I decided I had plenty of credits going, and I was a sophomore.
Mm-hmm.
And I decided that, and I was just going to skip over algebra and take geometry. I decided that I was smart enough that I could do that. And I soon found out that I was not smart enough to do that, that I really did need the algebra in order to be able to pass geometry, but I was stubborn. And I was going to stay in that geometry class come hell or high water. And the guidance counselor tried to talk me out of it and said, listen, you need to just go to study hall. You need to get out of that class. And I said, no, I might learn something if I sit there long enough. And I didn't need the credit for the class anyway. And I felt like, well, at least being in there is better than sitting and being bored to death at study hall. So I stayed in that class, and I never got one question right all year. The teacher even set me right in front of his desk because he thought, nobody could be that stupid. So he set me right in front of his desk, and every day he'd ask me a question, and every day I'd get it wrong. At least I was consistent.
There you go. Consistency is the best, right? It's funny. We used to laugh every morning. The vice principal or the principal would come on and do his little announcements for people to go into detention for the day, or if you were getting suspended. Well, me and my best friend David, we would be sitting in class and he would be making his announcement, and he would always say, and I'll never forget this because we knew it was coming. And yes, we did not forget you either, Mr. Armstrong or Mr. Siebold. I suggest you get to my office ASAP. He would always save the two of us for last. We had, I remember we told a freshman his first week in being a freshman, and we were seniors, and we told this kid, and I can't believe he did it. We gave him the option, either run through the girls' locker room or we flush your head down the toilet. Well, he chose to run through the girls' locker room and then proceeded to rat us out. Well, who told you to do this? Those guys said it. I mean,
if they told you to jump off a bridge, would you have done that too?
We did so much stupid stuff. I mean, it's looking back on it, it's funny. Some of the stuff was stupid that we did, but you have to laugh about it. There was a sporting goods store called Effinger's, and they'd sell the stink spray, like skunk spray, and some other stuff that, I mean, smelled horrible. And there's a canister that you can buy, and you just pop the canister and roll it, and it would just spray the spray. And we would do that on occasion, but we did it the one time, and we threw it in the principal's office, trying to be sneaks about it, thinking, okay, he's in his office, he ain't going to see us, so we'll just roll this thing in there. Well, we roll it in there, and all you hear is a voice behind you. What are you two clowns doing? What did you just do? Oh my God, we got suspended for a week over that one. Never seen him walking down the hall, nothing. All you heard, this man standing behind you. What did you two clowns just do now? And then as soon as he smelt it, oh my God, that's it. I'm done with you two. You guys are gone. But we didn't do no harm. It wasn't to hurt nobody.
Yeah.
You know, I did do something. We had this one kid, and matter of fact, my mother tells people this for some reason. I don't know why. His name was Brian, and he was a special ed student, and he was protected by the seniors. We wouldn't let nobody pick on this kid. Nobody picked on this kid. One day we're walking down the hall, and the kid was picking on him, calling him a retard. I mean, making the kid feel bad. Well, he had his hand positioned, pressing against the locker, and I walked by and I slammed that locker across that kid's hand and broke it. And I didn't realize I slammed it that hard, but he broke it. And I'll never forget that. Boy, did I get in trouble for that one. But I thought I was doing the right thing by sticking up for this kid. You know, it's like, no, you're not going to pick on him. You're going to leave him alone. You know, the whole varsity football team protected this kid. You were not going to bother this kid.
Yeah.
You know,
but in this day and age, they would have expelled you, and they might have shipped you out of the country over it.
You know, I never really, some of the stuff we did was, yeah, stupid, but we never did anything really to hurt anybody. You know, it was just being clowns, comical, you know, just having fun. You get bored, you know. I'll be honest, I got bored with school.
Well, people think that it's tough raising kids now. Wait until Hillary gets done with you, with this deal where she wants how she had that set up. Something about how the teachers have to come to the home and to investigate the home of each of the students.
Yep.
And if the parents say that that's inconvenient, then they can come to the school and meet with the teacher. But, you know, it has to be done for each and every student in the school. Now, you know, how long do you think before people start getting their kids taken away from them with that little deal going on?
You know, I got to ask this question because my daughter and son-in-law took my grandson, and they live down in Conway, South Carolina. They took him to be tested to see if he qualified to get into this preschool program.
Yeah.
They tested him, but the lady that did the test proceeded to tell my daughter. My daughter said, well, how did he do? And some other stuff. And this person turned around real nasty. It's private. We do not have to tell the parents on what we're testing for or what the test results were. We don't have to tell you the questions. We don't have to tell you anything. I'm thinking to myself, bullshit, that's my kid. You're going to tell me what you're testing them for and how they did. And then they got to come to their home, like you said, to inspect the home.
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah, that's all part of this new program stuff that they got going.
Welcome to Common Core.
Yeah.
You know, I just have an
That's
issue
why,
with that.
Yeah, that's why I was saying the other day that I'm against public schools.
Mm-hmm.
And this is exactly the reason that I'm against the schools. They're going to do exactly as they please with your kid. If they think your kid needs to go on drugs, you're going to put them on drugs, or they're going to take the kid away from you. If they think your kid needs vaccinated, you're going to get your kid vaccinated, or they're going to take your kid away from you. You need to start taking control of your children. You need to get them on this homeschool program stuff.
Mm-hmm.
You need to start investigating that if you haven't already.
Right.
It's probably cheaper in the long run. You can buy books from other homeschool families that they used the previous year. They don't need those books anymore. And you can get them at a discount.
Right.
So, I think that is the best way to go. You get involved with a bunch of other homeschool families. Your kids are getting more socialization than they get if they was going to public school. You're keeping them off the drugs. You're keeping them off the vaccinations. And you have control of your children, not the school system.
Right. Our day's coming to an end, and I will say my final thoughts and let Brenda close the show out. I want to thank everybody for coming. I hope I did a better job today. I want to thank Jay, Christy, Jeremy, Jimmy Cox, all of you. I want to thank you so much from the bottom of my heart for joining us. And like I said, I hope I did a little bit better job today. And I want to thank you for coming. Have a blessed day. I love you guys, and enjoy the rest of your afternoon. Brenda?
I'd like to thank everybody as well. It's good to see everybody in there, and we hope that you'll like and share the video. If you have any comments or anything that you want to give us, you can put them on underneath the video when it comes up, or you can email us at lhn13616@gmail.com. And we will see you tomorrow. I will say this before we close out. This is kind of a test week for us because this is our first week doing this. We're going to be doing a little bit of work on the show this weekend to see, kind of run some ideas and see if we can't improve some things that we've been doing and maybe add some things and really get the thing going. So we really appreciate you all bearing with us while we go through our technical difficulty stages with this. We're trying to do better every day, and I think we did do well today. So with that, Pat, I'll let you cut off the lights.
Thank you.